Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Rabbi shrahli sadri wa yassirli amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We open this session with Al-Fatihah. Assalamualaikum all. Good afternoon. Can you listen?
Waalaikumsalam, madam. Can.
Salam, madam.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Are you ready to start new lesson with me?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
madam.
Yes,
Ready, madam.
Yes, madam.
So topic for today is stiffness method for beam. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay, so you have already discussed with Sir Amir stiffness method for the truss. Okay, so we are going to start with beam today. So we have 3
Yes,
more
madam.
weeks to cover stiffness method. So under stiffness method, we have stress analysis, and then followed by beam analysis and also frame analysis. So for my part, I will cover beam analysis as well as frame analysis. Basically, the procedure to analyze stiffness method using stiffness method for all type of structure, for beam, for truss, for frame is same. Okay, except there are some different, especially for the degree of freedom. Okay, so we just go through this one first before we straight away do the example. So this is the learning outcome for this beam analysis using stiffness method. Okay, I believe you have understand the definition of degree of freedom for truss. Okay, for trust. So kalau for we use degree of indeterminacy in flexibility method, but we use a degree of freedom for stiffness method. Okay, for the trust, there are 2 degree of freedom and act in X and Y direction. Remember? Do you
Yes,
remember?
madam.
Okay. So for trust analysis, we only count 2 in X and in Y because there is no moment. Because there is no moment. Wait. Okay. And in beam analysis, we don't have to consider X because X is the axial. There is no axial deformation. Okay, and there is no axial force in beam, so we only count 2 in Y and Z direction, the degree of freedom. So I will show to you after this. Okay, so what we need to understand is we need to understand the difference between constrained and unconstrained degree of freedom for beam. And basically, whenever we understand this constrained and unconstrained degree of freedom for beam, we can apply to frame analysis after this. Okay, number 2, you need to learn how to convert intermediate loading to nodal forces. Okay, this one I will focus this part because this is very important. We will distribute whatever forces that is subjected on the member to the nodes, and this is actually called as nodal for equivalent nodal forces. Okay, number 3, we need to formulate the member stiffness matrices. Okay, formulate member stiffness matrices. This one is actually the same with the one that you have gone through under trust, except the formula is different. Okay, formula is different, so we just have to refer to the appendix and we will calculate the stiffness matrix. Okay, assembly the structure stiffness matrix. So from the element stiffness matrices or from the member stiffness matrices, we will establish the structure stiffness matrix. So what most important under this step is the level of degree of freedom, the unconstrained and the unconstrained and constrained. We must make sure that we label it properly, correctly, so that we will get the right structure stiffness matrix. And then for number 4, determine unknown nodal deformation, support reaction as well as internal forces. Okay. So basically, I believe Sir Ahmed also explained to you this when we use stiffness method, if we compare to the flexibility method, so this method we can calculate all displacement as well as reaction as well as internal forces, okay, under one method. So straight away we will get the deformation. The deformation that we get, we will use it to calculate the support reaction. And after that we will calculate the internal forces. Normally in beam we will close the analysis until we draw the shear force diagram as well as the bending moment diagram. Okay, so if you have any question, please ask. Okay, so a little bit about the term that we will use in this topic. So you have to be able to understand what is the definition of member and node identification. Member in stiffness method. Sometimes in the question the label is member. Sometimes in the question the label is element. Element or member is the same. Okay, normally member we label by AB, member AB, member BC. But for element, we label it by numbering. Element number 1, element number 2, and it is actually the same. Node identification, okay, basically we under previous topic or previous subject, we will normally identify node as join, join A, join B, join C, join D. But under stiffness method, we will use numbering to represent join or nodes. Okay, we call it as nodes. Okay, all element or member or join nodes. Okay, nodes, we will use number to identify that. Okay, we will use numbering because the stiffness method is actually we will use as the basic of structural engineering software. Sorry, anak datang. Okay, okay, we need to understand also the the local coordinate system as well as the local and the global coordinate system. Okay. So I want to straight away focus on the global system, but when you meet something like this x prime, the prime is actually the symbol for the local coordinate system. But for the analysis, we will analyze using the global coordinate system. I will show you after this the difference between the local and the global coordinate system. Okay, so the procedure. The procedure of analysis, first we must establish the stiffness matrix. Okay, same with analysis of truss, the stiffness matrix for each element, and after that we will produce or establish the structure stiffness matrix. And then we have to apply the force displacement equation, and we will solve for the unknown displacement, and after that we will determine the reaction as well as internal forces. Okay, I want to move to this one first. Okay, so this is the appendix. Appendix. Okay, we move straight away to beam. Okay, to beam. Okay, basically, for beam structure, beam has same local and global coordinate system. That is why you just find that there is a formula for K prime, which is equivalent to K. Okay, different with the truss structure where we have the formula for the local coordinate system, which is K prime, and we have K representing global coordinate system. Okay, so beam, we look at to beam. For beam structure, so we straight away look at to the global one. Okay, to the global. So as I mentioned just now, we don't need to, okay, we just focus on the global system. And we don't need to consider the x direction in beam because the value is 0. The displacement is 0. The horizontal force is also 0. So that is why you can see right here that okay. So as I mentioned just now, we only consider the degree of freedom in y and z direction. In y and z direction means that we need to sekejap pen tak sync kejap Okay. So this is the beam. Okay, beam has 2 degree of freedom in Y and Z direction. Okay, this is Y and Z direction. Y is always in the upward direction and Z is in counterclockwise direction, and this direction is considered as positive direction. Okay, positive direction, and we don't count X in beam because as I mentioned just now, for beam the displacement is 0 and the horizontal force is also 0. So by looking at this one, I is represent the near nodes, this is represent the near node, and J is represent the far node. Okay, near node and far nodes, and the direction for beam is always going to the right direction. This is the arrow. But for beam, we don't need to put the arrow like what we have done in thrust analysis. Okay, for this one, at each node there are 2 degree of freedom. At each node means that there are 2 located at near direction like this. Sorry. 2 is located in near direction and another 2 is located in far direction. Near and far. Kejap anak nangis. So we just have to follow this formula, the K. The K, and this is actually the element stiffness matrices label. If we are referring to this, the label is 1, 2, 3, 4. If we are referring to this, so it represent like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we move to this one first. Okay, so if we will consider this, okay, we have, let's say we have beam. We have beam in example 1. Example 1, I want to straight away go to example number 3. Example number 3 in the notes. Example number 3. Okay, I will draw it to you. So this is beam subjected to UDL 32 kilonewton per meter, and this one is 48 kilonewton point load. Okay, they are joined on nodes A, B, and C. So for A, B, and C, the total length is 8. The total length is 8. From A to B is 6 meter. And B to C is 2 meter. 48 is located at the center. So this is 1 meter and 1 meter. 1 meter and 1 meter. Okay, so Okay. What we need to do first, okay, let's look at the step that I have right here. Okay, in order to analyze beam using stiffness matrix method, what we need to do is we need to, number one, establish element global stiffness matrices, as well as establish the structure stiffness matrix. Okay, element global stiffness matrices and establish the structure stiffness matrix. So we focus on this first. So like what you have done under thrust analysis, step number one, we need to label, okay, according to unconstrained and constrained system. So for this one, A, B, and C, the total degree of freedom is 6 degree of freedom.
Madam, mic madam.
Madam tak dengar suara.
Sorry, anak duk kacau.
Tak apa,
Okay.
madam. Okay.
So we have to label the degree of freedom according to unconstrained and constrained system first. Unconstrained and constrained. Okay. Constraint means support. Constraint means support. Constraint means support. So by looking at this diagram, basically or conventionally, we will label the unknown reaction by looking at the support at joint. Okay, for example, at A there is a fixed end. Okay, fixed support. So at fixed support, conventionally we will label like this. There are three unknown reaction, remember? Okay, this is the conventional way when we have the structure and we look at the support and we will label the unknown reaction based on the support condition. So to identify how many constraint system in beam, okay, we will label it conventionally like this for first time. Okay, at A there are three because it is fixed support. And then at B, we have one roller, okay, BY, and at C, there is another one, okay, CY. But remember, as I mentioned to you just now, we don't count X direction because we know that AX is actually zero value. So we don't need to count. Okay, we don't need to count AX. We don't need to count AX because this one is equal to 0. Okay, so we will only count 2 degree of freedom, in Y direction and in Z direction. Okay, remember to follow this direction because the formula, okay, that I have shown to you just now, the formula is basically derived based on this direction. Means that we cannot simply put the direction that we like. Okay, so I will draw the degree of freedom. I will put the degree of freedom, okay, the degree of freedom into the diagram, okay, based on the degree of freedom shown in the appendix. So ABC, we can leave it as ABC, or if we want to model this using software, we can change this ABC to 1, 2, and 3. Basically, the idea of having nodes representing having number representing A, B, C is for the software purpose. Okay, for element or for member element, we use element number 1, means that member AB represent element number 1, member BC represent element number 2. Okay, this number is basically representing the software. Okay, the label that we use in the structural engineering software. For example, in STEAM, in LUSAS, in all structural engineering software. Okay, so basically I will sketch the beam like this. Okay, I will sketch the beam like this. Two beam. Okay, represent the same. So I will label based on label the node first. So here we have A, B, and C. And for constraint also we have the same A, B, and C. This is just to easily label the degree of freedom. We want to differentiate the degree of freedom for unconstrained and constrained system. So how to identify the degree of freedom in unconstrained and constrained system? For constraint, since it represents support, so we have to look at back to the unknown reaction, the degree of freedom for unknown reaction. Okay, so at A we have 2. Here there are 2 degree of freedom. Okay, 2 degree of freedom. Which one? This one as well as this 2. So we count at A there are 2 degree of freedom. At A there are 2 degree of freedom, but we don't follow that direction. We want to identify the number only. Okay, the number only. Okay, for B, there is BY. So BY represent 1 degree of freedom. 1 degree of freedom. Okay, and this is for constraint, yeah. And for C there is CY. CY means 1 degree of freedom. Okay, so all this green, okay, label, this green label here, okay, is representing the number of degree of freedom in constraint system. Means there are 4. There are 4 unknown reaction in constraint system. 4 degree of freedom. 4 degree of freedom, okay, representing 4 unknown reaction. Unknown reaction. Basically, if we refer back to the original diagram, okay, conventionally, we will count as 5. We will count as 5. However, since we don't count AX, so we minus by 1, so we have 4. So this 4 is represent the degree of freedom in constraint system. Degree of freedom in constraint system. Okay, so but in overall diagram, in overall beam, since there are 3 nodes A, node B, and node C, and we know that at each node there are 2, so 3 times 2 is 6. So when we know that there are 4 degree of freedom in constraint system, means that we have remaining 2 degree of freedom representing 2 unknown displacement. Okay, like this. Okay, so we just have to label. So at A there are 2. Remember that we have the sign convention that we need to follow. There are 2 at A in constraint system, so we have to put 2 in Y direction and in Z direction like this. Okay, and then we have 1 at B representing BY, and another one at C representing CY. Y. So there are 4 degree of freedom representing 4 unknown reaction in constraint system. So there are remaining 2. Okay, we need to, each node must have 2 DOF at each node. So the remaining 2 must be put in unconstrained system. In unconstrained system. So we have to refer to unconstrained. So we have to complete each join or each node by 2 degree of freedom. So we don't need to put degree of freedom at A in unconstrained because it has 2 already. And for B, we miss the Z direction, the degree of freedom in Z direction. And at C, we have another one in Z direction. Okay. So we have now put all the degree of freedom for unconstrained and constrained system. Okay, I believe you understand that in unconstrained system, this one representing unknown displacement. Unconstrained system represent unknown displacement, and constrained system, okay, represent the unknown reaction. And in constrained system, displacement is equal to 0. In constrained system, displacement is equal to 0. Okay, until this stage, do you understand?
Understand, madam. Understand, madam.
Okay, so what we need to do after this is we need to label. Okay, when we want to label, so since there are 6, total is 6 degree of freedom, so we will label start from 1 until 6. And the label must be started in unconstrained system. Okay, in unconstrained system. And after that only we continue with constrained system. Okay, do you know why we need to label number 1 in unconstrained system first? Why we cannot label 1 in constrained system? Do you know why? Anybody? Do you know why we need to label start from unconstrained?
Not sure, madam.
Not sure.
Actually, there is a statement explaining this, the reason why we need to label number 1, start from constraint, start from unconstrained, then followed by constraint. Okay, I don't remember at what page under the textbook. Okay, under the textbook there is a statement explaining this. Okay, basically why we need to consider or label the unconstrained first. Okay, because by looking at the, okay, this is another explanation. Okay, by looking at the step, number 1. Okay, number 1, okay, 1 and 2 establish the structure stiffness method, doesn't matter. Okay, number 3, equivalent element of the forces. Okay. Soft. Okay, number 6 though. Number 6. Number 1, establish global stiffness matrices is K for element, K1 and K2 in this case. Okay, number 2, establish the structure stiffness matrix. This is the structure stiffness matrix 6 by 6 matrix. Step number 3, we need to establish element equivalent nodal forces, this equivalent element nodal forces as well as equivalent nodal forces. And then number 5, form the stiffness equation or force displacement equation. Okay, and then number 6, solve the unknown displacement. Solve the unknown displacement, step number 6. And then step number 7, calculate unknown reaction. Unknown displacement, unknown reaction. Which one we calculate first?
Displacement.
Unknown
Unknown.
displacement.
Can we calculate unknown reaction first?
No.
No, right? We cannot calculate unknown reaction if we don't calculate unknown displacement first. Okay, because we will use the value of displacement. We will use the value of displacement to calculate the unknown reaction. So the one that so that is why we have to label the degree of freedom start from unknown displacement. Start from an unknown displacement. Unknown displacements are located under unconstrained system. So that is why we need to label unconstrained system first. So we have label like this. 1 and 2. There are two DOF in unconstrained system represent two unknown displacement. 2 degree of freedom represent two unknown displacement. Okay, two unknown displacement, and there are 4 unknown reaction. 4 degree of freedom representing 4 unknown reaction that is located in constraint system. Okay, boleh nampak tak? Yang ni kan label dia ikut konsep stiffness matrix method. Yang Y and Z dia dah set the sign convention like that. Can you imagine this? What is actually occur, what is actually Q1, what is actually D1, what is actually D2? Do you see that? Nampak ke tak nampak?
Saya tak nampak lagi madam.
Okay, so just look at this diagram. Like what, macam ikut logik. Ikut logik kan? Ikut tengok je. Just look at this diagram. Okay, we have beam. There are 3 support. There are fixed, roller and roller. And member AB ni, okay, member AB ni ada apa? Ada loading UDL on top of it. So, whenever we have beam and then ada loading on top of the beam, what happened to the beam?
Deflection.
Yeah.
Deflection.
Okay, the beam will deflect like this. Okay, deflect. And another one, BC, also deflect, right? Due to point load, the BC also deflect, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, BC also deflect. Okay, the deflected shape of this, okay, will be depend on the support condition. You have learned about the buckling. Okay, what happened? The effective length between the support, remember? Do you remember that? That is the reason. That is a reason why we draw the deflected shape of AB not starting at point A. Do you remember that?
Faham sebab dia fixed support.
Okay, sebab dia fixed support. So effective length between fixed and roller. Effective length between fixed and roller is about 0.7 or 0.75. Kan? So that is why I draw like this. And between roller and roller, the effective length is
1 I think.
1. Okay, effective length is 1. That is why we can draw the deflection, okay, of the beam, okay, from B to C. Okay, directly at that position. Okay, so by looking at this, okay, the degree of freedom is actually what, if somebody asks you, what is actually degree of freedom in simple word, what should you say?
The internal reaction.
Constraint.
in simple way, so that when you said that, everyone understand, oh, this is actually the degree of freedom, and from that term, you know that what you are going to look at actually. The degree of freedom, what does it means?
Reaction.
Okay, ada dalam textbook, nanti please read degree of freedom. Okay, what is actually degree of freedom? Degree of freedom is actually displacement component. Displacement component. Okay, why did I say degree of freedom is displacement component? Okay, yang XYZ tu, yang kalau beam kan, beam we don't count X. We only count Y as well as Z. Okay. In terms of displacement, so degree of freedom, when we want to solve using stiffness method, we have to look at that degree of freedom representing a displacement and representing forces. Means that if this question have 6 degree of freedom, means that there are D1 until D6, Q1 until Q6. But the simplest way to identify the degree of freedom is actually by looking at the displacement component. Okay, displacement component means that Y and Z. Y representing
Vertical.
vertical displacement or delta. This is actually Y. Okay, and Z direction, Z, this one, Z degree of freedom is actually representing
Rotational displacement.
rotational displacement. Okay, degree of freedom, I repeat again, degree of freedom in stiffness method, we will look at this degree of freedom in terms of displacement as well as in terms of reaction. Kan? Reaction. But between these two, displacement and reaction, which one that we can see clearly? Is it reaction component or displacement component?
Displacement.
Displacement. So why is actually why in terms of displacement? So we are talking about displacement component. Y representing vertical displacement or delta. And Z representing rotation. Rotation. So this is due to displacement. This is displacement component. Okay, so there are two. This is Y. So this is vertical, delta vertical. Vertical. There is no horizontal delta. So that is why we don't count for the horizontal displacement under beam analysis. But we need to count for frame. Okay, so there are two. So the Y representing in terms of displacement, Y representing vertical displacement or delta, and in terms of displacement, Z representing rotation. Okay, delta ni, can we see the delta? Okay, look at the diagram. Okay, means that kalau tadi kata kita ada 2 degree of freedom at A, 2 degree of freedom at B, 2 degree of freedom at C. In full. In full, right? There are 2. Okay, I want to ask you. Delta vertical, delta at A. Okay, at A. Ada? What is the value? We must look at to the support condition and put the value. At A.
0.
0. Okay, and then theta at A. By looking at the deflection diagram that I drawn. Theta A. Is there any value or it is
0 juga.
0?
No.
Okay, 0. So nampak tak kenapa kita lukis tadi di deflection tu kita tak boleh draw dia from A because A tu fixed support and we know that at fixed the displacement is all zero. Okay?
Okay, madam.
Okay. So at B, okay, each node must have 2 degree of freedom. Means that delta at B, by looking at the deflection, delta at B, what is the value?
0.
0. Okay, and another one, theta at B,
Ada value.
ada value. This is non-zero. This is called as non-zero. Okay, so we look at the same at C, delta at C.
0.
Delta at C is 0, theta at C.
Non-zero.
0.
Okay, this is non-zero. So this one is non-zero. Do you realize that all this zero displacement, yang ni zero displacement, all this zero, kan this is zero displacement, right? Zero displacement. Okay, all this zero is displacement is actually representing constraint system, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
madam.
Presenting this. That is why I put here displacement is equal to 0 at position 3, 4, 5 and 6. And whenever displacement are 0, okay, in opposite direction, in opposite condition, Q is actually representing by unknown reaction. Kan dia kan condition dia opposite. Condition between Q dengan D ni always opposite. Kalau satu jadi unknown, satu lagi jadi known. In this case, whenever D tu 0, Q akan jadi unknown. Do you understand that?
Yes, madam. Understand.
Okay, so the condition is always opposite. Okay, in constraint system, constraint means support displacement 0, and when displacement 0, we have Q, right? Kan degree of freedom ni kita kena tengok on displacement component as well as reaction. Okay, so reaction will be unknown reaction. Means that ada value. Means that we need to calculate the value. Okay, so all is by this diagram. So whenever you understand this diagram, actually the label 1 until 6, okay, 1 until 6 that we label here, okay, we label 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 in constraint system means that Q, we have means that label 1 and 2 tu, 1 and 2 dia akan ada D1 and D2. And then dia akan ada Q1 and Q2. Okay, so Q1 and Q2 representing what? Tadi D1 and D2 representing rotation, representing rotation, and it is zero value. It is non-zero value. So, okay, this non-zero value ni representing Q1, D1 and D2, betul tak? Betul tak yang ni, yang dekat sini ni? Okay, theta B, okay, non-zero theta B ni, where is it? So dia kat sini. Ingat tak dulu-dulu masa belajar masa sekolah, bila kita lukis curve line, kita buat satu tangent line, dia represent apa?
90 degree.
Tangent line, tangent kepada yang curve tu. Kan? Something like this. Okay, so theta B theta B ni kalau kita letak dalam diagram, so dia jadi theta B tu kat sini. And dua-dua value dia equivalent. Betul?
Betul.
Okay. And another one, theta C dekat sini lah. This is actually theta C. Okay. So, yang kita baca dalam stiffness method, D1, D2, lepas tu ada D3, lepas tu ada D4, D5, D6. Okay, you have to be able to imagine benda ni. Maksudnya you kena nampak lah kalau macam contoh kita label 1 and 2. Kita label 1 and 2 for unconstrained system. Okay, it is Z direction. Z tu representing apa? Z tu representing rotation. Rotation. So dia ada label 1 and label 2. So in this case yang ni D1 kan? D1 right? Displacement component D1 and D2. D1 kalau tengok list, mana satu D1, mana satu D2?
Dekat B dengan C, madam.
Ya, so D1 tu representing delta B. Sorry, bukan delta. Theta
B.
theta B. And D2 representing theta C. So you have to understand this concept first before you can do the analysis. So bila dapat soalan you kena nampak benda ni dulu lah, so that kita tak nak macam at this level you are part 5, part 4, part 5, part 6 students kan. So at this level kita tak nak lagi you learn to remember all the steps. So whatever things that you do, okay, it is actually represent something. So this is the beauty of structural analysis. Sebab each step that you do, we can represent by diagram. There is an explanation, okay, about the label that we use. Whatever lah, macam kadang-kadang kenapa negative? Negative tu can be shown by diagram. Okay, kenapa? D1 representing what? D1 representing theta at B. So why this has value? So we should be able to explain it. Okay? Boleh?
Boleh, madam.
Okay, so we have 6 degree of freedom. 6 degree of freedom means that there are 6D and 6Q. 6D and 6Q. Means that D kita ni, D1, we have D2, we have D3, we have D4, we have D5, we have D6. Okay. And Q, we have Q1, we have Q2, we have Q3, we have Q4, we have Q6. 5. We have Q5, we have Q6. So dia ada boundary lah tu. Dia punya boundary between unconstrained and constrained system tu becomes the boundary. So ni dia punya boundary kan. So boundary, so yang sini sini constraint, this is constraint, this is constraint system, this is unconstrained. Okay, unconstrained. So condition dia opposite. Condition dia opposite means D dekat constraint all equal to 0. So yang ni 0, yang ni 0, yang ni 0, yang ni 0. Betul?
Betul, madam.
Okay. So bila D dekat constraint tu 0, opposite dia Q3 sampai Q6 must be unknown value. So yang ni lah yang kita nak calculate using stiffness method. Okay? And sama juga between unconstrained dengan constrained, dia pun opposite condition. Means that kalau yang bawah D pada constraint system is non-value, zero value, sini kita panggil dia zero displacement. So term-term ni important ya, you have to pay attention. Okay, in constraint system, D is equivalent to zero. This is called as zero displacement. Kadang-kadang term ni disebut dalam soalan. Okay, zero displacement. Or displacement tadi saya sebut, displacement is what? Displacement is degree of freedom kan? Degree of freedom is actually displacement component. That is why sometimes you jumpa the term zero degree of freedom. Because degree of freedom itself representing displacement component. So sometimes ada word you will see the word zero degree of freedom. So semua tu representing this lah. Representing D3, D4, D5, D6. So opposite condition. Okay, this D1 and D2 unknown. Okay, kalau yang bawah tu zero displacement, yang atas jadi? Yang atas jadi apa?
Zero.
Kalau yang bawah ni nama dia zero displacement, yang atas nama dia
Zero reaction.
non-zero. Non-zero displacement. Kan? Zero lawannya non-zero. Betul? Sometimes non-zero degree of freedom. Non-zero degree of freedom. Ada term-term ni dalam soalan kalau you pernah tengok. Non-zero displacement and non-zero degree of freedom. Opposite dia apa? Zero displacement, zero degree of freedom. So zero displacement located in the constraint system. Okay, in opposite condition, non-zero representing unconstrained system. Logiknya unconstrained means no support. Bila no support, dia akan ada movement. Okay, logik dia macam tu. Kena fikir logik juga. Okay, constraint means support. Unconstrained means no support. Kan? No support, tempat yang tak ada support can move or not? Can move, right? So that is why in unconstrained system, displacement is actually the unknown displacement because it can move because there is no support. Okay. Opposite condition. Kalau dekat D1 and D2 unknown, Q1 and Q2 known lawannya
Unknown.
Zero.
okay, dia opposite. Boleh opposite, boleh tengok opposite tu condition tu between D and Q, and boleh tengok opposite dia between constraint and unconstrained. Dua-dua boleh tengok. So kalau D1 and D2 is unknown, so Q1 and Q2 means that Q1 and Q2 we must put the value. It cannot be unknown value, right?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
We must put the value. Okay, Q1, Q2. By looking at the diagram, kan 1 and 2. 1 and 2 ni, okay, this is Q. Okay, if Y representing, okay, kalau displacement, Y representing, kalau displacement, Y representing vertical displacement, Z representing rotation. Kalau dia, apa tadi tu? Q. Kalau Q, Y representing forces dalam arah Y. Apa dia? Forces,
Vertical.
okay, vertical forces of vertical forces, vertical reaction. So kalau Z representing
Rotation.
Moment.
rotation or moment?
Moment.
Moment because Q is forces. Okay, Q is force, right? Representing okay, we have numbering too. Remember this numbering we must look at to in terms of displacement as well as forces. Displacement dah clear tadi kan? Okay, now now we want to look at this. Okay, this numbering according to Q pula. Q1 and Q2. 1 and 2. Because the direction is Z direction. Q1 to represent.
Zero moment.
Okay. Q1 represent 0 moment. Sebab tak ada moment dalam question. Ada tak? So means that kalau kita tengok sini 1 and 2. What is actually definition of Q1 in sentence? Siapa boleh jawab? Q1 represent moment at join
Join B, madam.
join B. Okay, Q1 represent moment at join B. Q2?
Dekat C.
Moment
Okay.
at joint C.
Yeah, Q2 represent moment at join C. So, whenever we understand that Q1 and Q2 representing moment at joint B and joint C respectively, means that we have to look at back to the question, tengok ada tak moment, applied moment subjected at B and C? Ada tak?
No.
No. So, bila ada moment, kena letak tak moment tu? Kena consider tak moment tu? So in this case dia 0, 0. In this case 0, 0 because there is no moment at B and there is no moment at C. Okay. Okay, understand this?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now we have cover D and Q. D and Q. Remember the Q is actually representing nodal forces. Sama kan dengan thrust? Q representing nodal forces. Q representing nodal forces. And D representing nodal displacement. Means that whatever, in terms of Q, whatever forces subjected directly at nodes, okay, is Q. Okay, Q. So what happened to the UDL and point load that is located along AB and on the BC, on member BC. So nak masuk part mana tu? How to consider these two loads into the analysis? Siapa yang ada idea? No idea.
Yes. Not sure.
Okay, so kita tengok yang ni.
No idea.
No idea. Okay. This one, okay, the number 3 and number 4. Okay, it is under the term used is element equivalent element nodal forces and equivalent nodal forces. This is basically new. Kan? You never knew that before, right?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Tapi dah pernah guna, cuma term dia different. Okay, term dia different. Okay, so kita tinggal sat yang ni. Saya nak go back to appendix. So saya stop sharing ni sekejap. Stop sharing dulu. Okay. To go back to this one. Okay. Appendix page 3. Okay, appendix page 3. Okay, under the name fixed end action. Fixed end action. Pernah jumpa tak loading like this? Beam like this.
Pernah. Loading yang ni madam, pihak lower 8 ni.
Something yang macam ni lah. Beam, ada support. Lepas tu ada UDL, ada point load. Pernah jumpa tak before this?
Benar,
Benar.
madam.
Pernah.
Do you remember the name that we used before?
Not sure.
Not sure.
Name tu not sure madam.
You are from matrix or diploma?
Diploma.
Diploma patutnya remember. You have actually learned about this under
MDM madam.
Yes. MDM. Mana ruler tah? Sekejap So the fixed end moment that you calculate, okay, whenever you want to analyze beam using moment distribution method, the one that you will learn again in the next chapter, okay, is actually this. Ruler ni je yang ada. Okay, tak apalah ya yang ni Boleh nampak kan?
Nampak madam.
Boleh madam.
Okay. Okay, so let's assume that this is the beam. Yang ni beam tu. Yang ni beam. Okay, tengok yang first one. Yang first one tu, okay, all this beam is called as fixed-ended. Both end is fixed. Okay, both end A and B ni fixed. Okay, so number one, formula number one. Okay, formula number one, if the beam is subjected to UDL on top of the beam. Okay, on top of the beam. Okay, ada formula kat situ M, A and MB. A and MB tu is actually fixed end moment. Cuma label yang guna kat sini dia letak M. Fixed end moment tu pun moment. This is moment. So fixed end tu sebab diagram tu memang fix kat situ kan. So dia letak M je. It is actually represent fixed end moment. Fixed end moment at A, fixed end moment at B. So logically when the support is fixed, okay, of course it should have the moment at fixed support. Okay, so the idea is when the beam has loaded, what happened to the beam? Dia bend lah.
Bend.
Tak ada ruler yang fleksibel sikit nak tunjuk. Dia bend. Dia bend kan?
Yes.
Okay. So what is actually okay, the reaction. So reaction akan occur lah dekat dua-dua end tu sebab dia support ada reaction kan?
Betul madam.
Okay,
Yes.
support ada reaction. So kalau due to loading yang on top of the beam tu, tak kisahlah dia UDL ke, dia triangular load ke, dia point load ke, mana-mana kan. Mana-mana satu dalam 4 yang atas tu lah. Yang bawah 2 tu tak payah tengok. Tengok yang selalu dia very common 1, 2, 3, 4. Very common. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 tu very common. Okay, so what happened is the beam will deflect due to the beam will deflect due to the load. So reaction ni apa dia buat?
Equilibrium, tolak balik.
Yes. Okay, dia akan tolak balik. So dia akan counter back. Kalau dia jadi bengkok, dia jadi bend because of the load. So moment tu akan push it back in opposite direction so that the beam dia akan go straight back, kan? Konsep fixed end reaction tu macam tu. Kalau beam so ada kalau shear kan, shear dia tolak dari load tolak ke bawah, so reaction akan push it back, tolak ke atas kan. That's why dia ada RA dengan RB tu. Kan, kalau ke bawah nak balance kena kalau daripada atas nak balance dari bawah kan. That's why kita ada equilibrium equation, right? Untuk balance. So kalau dia bend like sekejap. Yang ni beam tu. Okay, this is the beam. Kalau ada due to loading, dia akan bend. Okay, bend like this kan. So ada fix lah, ada support. Both direction ada support. So reaction tu akan counter back. Means dia akan apply moment tu, dia akan push macam tu. Push macam tu or in other direction. Dia nak counter back. Kita tengok balik . Saya share screen balik. Sekejap . Okay, beam yang bend tadi. Asal macam ni. Lepas tu ada loading. Okay, whatever type of loading doesn't matter. Okay, as long as it is subjected on the beam. Okay, what happen if the beam will deflect like this. So to go back to straight position, we want to make this beam, the bend beam, to straight position. Again, what we need to do? Kita kena apply moment satu arah ni, satu lagi arah ni. Oh, yang mana satu? Oh, yang ni ke? Yang atas or yang bawah?
Yang atas.
Yang atas tu.
Yang atas, madam.
Yang atas. Sebab dia nak counter back. Okay, sebab dia nak counter back. Okay, dia nak counter back. What happen kalau kita salah letak sign? What happen?
More bending.
Okay. So dia jadi
Jadi salah medium.
ya.
Dia
So
fail terus.
Dia tak counter, madam.
okay. So dia fail lah. Dia fail, dia patah, dia macam-macam lah kan. Okay. So tujuan kita apply, kita calculate this called as fixed end moment because kita nak counter back. So konsep dia konsep equilibrium juga. Konsep equilibrium dia nak counter back. So moment tu mesti push both end A and B so that the beam will go back to its original position. Konsep dia sama macam konsep inertia yang you dah belajar masa fizik form 4. Betul tak?
Betul.
Okay. So moment yang ni direction ni semua. Okay. Kalau salah letak sign. Kalau letak dia akan bukan salah letak sign. Kalau you salah letak nanti dia akan jadi the other way round lah. Jadi collapse lah kan. Kalau macam building dia collapse lah. Macam yang ni kan dia akan jadi patah apa semua kan. Dia depend on ni lah. Maksudnya defect pada structure tu. Okay. So back to fixed end moment. This is actually called as fixed end moment. So fixed end moment ni kalau because beam analysis we consider 2 degree of freedom. Kan tadi 2 degree of freedom Y and Z tu kan. Yang ni now we are talking about forces. Kita dah settle part displacement. Okay, yang ni forces. Okay, dia ada 2 jenis kan. So dekat fix ni, fix because we don't count X. X memang X dia 0 pun. So that is why kalau sini ada P. Kalau sini L over 2, sini L over 2. Kan? So moment kita akan apply in this direction. Yang ni sign convention. Yang ni sign convention. Ni. Jangan silap yang ni sign convention. Sign convention yang I mention just now. Awal-awal tadi dah mention. Sign convention ni compulsory we follow because the formula that we use in this stiffness matrix for beam will be based on this direction. Okay, so ni kita punya reference. Okay, tapi fixed end moment ni or fixed end reaction ni dia bukannya sign convention, dia behavior. Yang ni fixed end moment. Kalau moment lah atau lebih tepat dia fixed end action lah tu yang tadi tajuk dia tu fixed end action tu. Okay, fixed end moment. Or lebih tepat fixed end action sebab kalau dalam moment distribution method we only count moment, but this time we also count the vertical reaction, fixed end action. So dia ada 2 lah, satu lagi yang ni. Okay, yang vertical tu dia nak balance yang P. Kan, vertical dia nak balance yang P. That is why yang ni sebab dia center, dia jadi P over 2. P over 2. And moment is PL over 8. PL over 8. Kalau point load lah. So fixed end moment, fixed end action ni is actually behavior. This is behavior. Behavior. So you must understand that fixed end moment ni dia behavior. So whenever we want to put the direction, we must consider these 2 direction. Kita kena compare direction from behavior tu, behavior which is come from fixed end action. Kita kena compare with the sign convention for stiffness method. Then baru kita letak dia negatif or dia positif dalam matrix nanti. Okay, so whatever opposite with sign convention, dia jadi negatif. Okay, yang same direction dia jadi positif. So negatif, positif dalam stiffness method bukan representing kanan or kiri or atas or bawah or clockwise or anti-clockwise. Boleh faham yang tu?
Boleh, madam.
Okay, so negatif, positif. Okay, under stiffness method, kita akan depend on sign convention. Okay, given in appendix. Whatever opposite is negative, yang similar is positive. Okay, for example. Okay, appendix tu macam biasalah kalau yang ni yang standard, I believe you pun dah dah remember. So yang very basic punya formula for fixed end moment ni, kalau yang P, PL/8 for the fixed end moment. Kalau apa satu lagi tu? UDL. UDL ni, sekejap nak cucuk charger. UDL kita pakai WS²/12, right? WS²/12. So triangular load dengan yang satu lagi tu P not at the center tu boleh refer formula. So tu yang the most popular kan, tu yang most popular, yang ni yang paling banyak kita pakai lah. Okay, paling banyak kita pakai. So yang ni W, yang ni L. So moment like this. So this is WL/2 sebab dia simetri. So yang ni P, ini L/2, L/2. So the vertical forces is P/2, P/2. And moment, okay, kenapa arah macam tu tadi saya dah explain. So dia akan jadi PL/8, PL/8. Okay. Boleh? Okay,
Boleh madam.
nama dia tadi dekat yang atas tadi tu. Equivalent element nodal forces and equivalent nodal forces. What's the difference between these two? Different kat mana?
Elemen.
Element. Okay, 1 and 2 different kat mana? One dengan tu, K for element dengan structure stiffness matrix beza dekat? Beza dekat? Element. Okay, so beam ni. Okay, beam tadi tu kan? Beam yang kita dah label tadi tu, yang ni. Roller. Lepas tu ada point load sini, ada UDL sini. A, B, C. And then ada moment 1 and 2. Three, 4, 5, 6 tadi kan. So let's say AB tu, AB ni element number 1. This is element number 1. This is element number 2. Labeling dia lagi senang daripada labeling ni dia simple lagi daripada truss, sebab truss dia kan you kena letak arrow, you kena calculate CX, CY or lambda X, lambda Y. Tapi yang ni dia dah skip dah dalam make sure that in the diagram before you start analysis, there are only 3 things that you need to label. Number 1, you have to make sure that ada node number. Then you have to make sure that ada node number, lepas tu ada apa? Node number, lepas tu ada element number. Member AB is element number 1, member BC is element number 2. Number 3, you must put the degree of freedom according to unconstrained and constrained system. Okay, 6. Okay, so dah label all this. Okay, dah label all this. So I don't want to show how to calculate K because the most important thing is label. So K tu just follow the formula. Dah ada length, dah ada EI semua given. So dah boleh calculate lah K. Value inside K matrix tu dah boleh calculate. So what most important things is, okay, step yang kat atas ni is actually the step lah. The step to analyze stiffness matrix. Stiffness matrix method for the beam. We will start with establish element global stiffness matrices. Element global stiffness matrices ni means that we will establish K1 which is 4x4 matrix. Okay, in terms of EI, sama macam kita buat for truss in terms of EA. So we will have K1 and K2. Yang ni nampak tak? This step.
Nampak madam.
Nampak
Okay.
madam.
So for element number 1, kalau in trust analysis, we will label start from near to far end. So yang tu near to far tu kita nak label, kita kena based on arrow. Because arrow tu dia akan tunjukkan the arrow is always going towards far end. Far end. So it depends on arrow. But beam dia tak label the arrow. The arrow itu understood in it is in the right direction. Okay, right direction means in this direction. So A will be the near end, A will be the near end, and B will be the far end. So kalau for trust kita akan label dia XY, near XY, far XY. So for beam we will follow the same, except the degree of freedom we must change to YZ. YZ X means that near YZ, far YZ. Okay. Near kita A. Dekat A, YZ kita label dia apa? At A. Numbering pada degree of freedom dekat A.
4.
3, 4.
3, 4.
Yes, 3, 4.
3, 4. Okay, label YZ for B.
5, 1.
5, 1. 3, 4, 5, 1. Value inside the matrix nanti you boleh calculate on your own. Because when we have length, okay, we can calculate the value. Okay, K2. What about K2? K2, B is the near end, C is the far end. From B to C, so the label should be 5, 1.
5, 1, 6, 2.
Yes. 5, 1, 6, 2. 5, 1, 6, 2. This is for K. Okay. K. So basically, K, the structure stiffness matrix, because from this element, okay, K1 and K2, this is number 1. Element global stiffness matrices. Element ni number 1 Ni number 1. Element global stiffness matrices. Element global stiffness matrices. And number 2, we will establish the structure stiffness matrix. The structure stiffness matrix from element global stiffness matrices. We will use the formula K, capital K. Kalau dalam buku dia pakai bold color. Okay, K. So nak tulis susah sikit lah ya. So we use capital for the structure. This is K1 plus K2. Yang ni dah faham kan? Sama macam trust. So we will get 1 to 6. Okay, we will get the structure stiffness matrix yang label dia in order for the structure stiffness matrix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is EI in terms of EI. Okay, do I need to explain this further for K?
No, madam.
Okay, so we move to number 3. Number 3. Establish equivalent element nodal forces. Okay, so the word element ada dekat situ. So, what does it means? Kita nak calculate Q, nama dia element equivalent nodal forces, simbol dia Q naught. Simbol dia Q naught. Actually, we will have the stiffness equation. Stiffness equation. Okay, Q is equal to KD plus Q naught. ataupun Q minus Q naught is equal to KD. Mana-manalah. Okay. So in trust analysis, okay, equivalent element nodal forces in trust come from temperature changes as well as fabrication error. Ada tak belajar before this? Ada tak?
Ada madam. Last kelas saya
Okay.
tu.
Okay. So kalau trust Q naught ni, Q naught representing by the effect of temperature as well as fabrication error. But for beam analysis as well as frame analysis, Q naught ni makna dia apa? Equivalent nodal forces. Apa makna equivalent nodal forces ni? Because we must understand that stiffness matrix method, we only analyze forces and displacement at nodes. Kan? That's why D tu dekat nodes. Q tu dekat nodes. Q dekat node. Q is actually nodal forces. Means that whatever forces subjected at nodes, it is Q. But in this case, whenever we have UDL along member AB and point load on member BC at the middle, these two types of loading is not nodal forces. Nama dia equivalent nodal forces. Okay, maksudnya kita kena distribute the forces equivalently to the nodes. That is why nama dia equivalent nodal forces. Okay, simbol dia Q. Not. Tak samalah dengan simbol nodal forces tu sebab kita letak the word equivalent. Okay, Q S. Okay. Okay, Q sama macam K. K kita ada two simbol. K small letter dengan K capital letter. K capital kita pakai untuk structure stiffness matrix, right?
Ya, betul.
Yes.
Okay. K small letter kita pakai for element. Jadi, equivalent without the word element is actually for the structure and simbol dia kita pakai capital Q naught. And satu lagi ada word element, nama dia equivalent element tambah the word element only, equivalent element nodal forces, yang tu for Q kecil ya, Q kecil, yang tu for the element. Means that kalau kita tengok balik diagram ni, kalau kita tengok balik K ni dan juga diagram ni, okey, kalau ada K1, dia akan ada, kalau tengok balik diagram elemen number 1 ada UDL, so dia akan ada Q1 node. Dia macam ni, Q1 node. Okey, 1 tu pasal elemen 1 tu lah, node tu pasal simbol, sama dengan simbol ni lah. Sama dengan simbol tu. Okey, so Q1 node ni is actually equivalent element nodal forces. Okay, equivalent element nodal forces yang label dia sama macam label K1. 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, and we have for element number 2, it is Q2, equivalent element nodal force. Okay, yang label dia is equal to K2. 5162. 5162. 5162. Okay, when we combine these two Q, combine these two, element 1 and element 2, it will become Q naught. which is equal to Q1 naught plus Q2 naught. Sama macam K capital we get from K1 plus K2. Okay, so beza antara thrust analysis and beam as well as frame is due to this. Dia ada equivalent nodal forces yang source dia datang from forces that is subjected on the member. Because on the member stiffness method ni we have to distribute to the nodes. Dia takkan calculate, kita takkan calculate displacement at the mid span. We don't calculate Q. All Q, we don't calculate Q at the along the member. So Q must be distributed equivalently. That is why ada word equivalent here. Equivalent nodal forces. Formula dia kita akan refer formula yang tadi itulah fixed end action. So cara nak buat dia, saya tunjuk sikit. Nanti kan kelas 1 jam, saya plan nak kelas 1 jam. Saya sebenarnya nak bagi you diagnostic test yang hari tu Sir Amin tak sempat bagi. Tapi 1 jam ni, 1 jam kelas 1 jam hari Khamis saya nak you buat ni dululah. Okey, yang diagnostic test tu kita ambil somewhere in weekend about half an hour kita buat diagnostic test ya. So nak settle yang ni hari Khamis. Okey, so yang ni macam mana nak dapat yang ni? Okey, kita kena analyze separate separate element. For example, kita tengok dulu elemen number 1. Elemen number 1 fixed end ya. Fixed end dia UDL. UDL value dia nanti saya share dengan you example beam yang saya dah letak dekat Facebook so that you boleh refer jugalah. Okey, 32 dengan 6 ya. 32 dengan 6. So this is 32 dengan 6 meter. Okay, so behavior. So kita letak the reaction representing the fixed end action. So to balance back the 32 kilonewton per meter kalau in terms of vertical forces. Okay, vertical forces kita pakai P over 2. WL over 2. WL over 2. Cuba calculate kejap WL over 2, 32 times 6 divide by 2. What is the value? What is the value?
96.
96 both ya, 96. So this is 96. And then please calculate the fixed end moment. Okay, in this direction because this is the behavior. WL squared over 12. Okay, give me the answer.
Doktor.
Ya,
UDL tu 32 ah.
32. Tengok balik di atas.
Saya macam
Yes,
32.
32. WL over squared. Okay, what is the value? Berapa tu? WS square over 12?
96.
Also 96. Okay.
96.
Okay. So this is element number 1. A dengan B. A dengan B. What we need to do is actually, okay, kita sketch je the degree of freedom element number 1 ni. Element number 1 we have 3, 4, 5, 1. From the diagram kan? From the diagram, label dia 3, 4, 5, 1. Label dia 3, 4, 5, 1 yang ni. Yang ni lah. 3, 4, 5, 1. So now we want to put the value inside this bracket. Okay, inside this bracket. Q1 node based on this diagram. So Q1. So Q1 ni is 4 value. This is 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 1. So what we need to do is just to compare. Compare. So what is the value for position number 3? Position number 3.
96.
It is 96. Okay, position number 4.
96.
Okay, 96. Compare with number 4. Is it the same direction or opposite direction?
Same.
Same direction.
Same direction. Same direction means positive. Okay, number 5. Where is number 5? This is number 5. This is number 5. The value is 96. Okay, last one, number 1.
Negative 96.
Negative.
Yes, it is negative because it is in opposite direction. Okay, negative. So sorry, this is Q1 node. So it is Q1 node is actually, okay, we find the value from the element. Okay, element diagram, we put both and fixed. So we put the fixed and reaction, and then we transfer the value into the Q1 node in the bracket. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 1. So we will do the same to determine Q2 node. So means Q2 node label dia element number 2, label dia 5162. So you do the same process. The same process you will get Q2 node, okay, like this. So finally, okay, finally we can write the stiffness equation. Q minus Q naught is equal to KD. Okay, Q in full 6 value lah, 6 value minus Q naught 6 value equal to K and D. And then all the zero value will be cancelled. Okay, all the zero value will be cancelled, and the one that we consider to analyze for the unknown displacement here, D1 and D2, is actually only this, and only this. Okay, so I will share to you the link for my video regarding this. Okay, the same example, the similar example under my YouTube channel. I will share to you the link. I want you to watch the example, the solution discussed in the video, and try to solve this until finish. Okay, so for the next 1 hour, I want you to do this. And I want you to submit this exercise in the OneNote, like one that I have asked to you in the early semester. Ada kan yang saya bagi link untuk you submit dekat OneNote tu kan? So I will do the same. Okay, so this one I want you to finish it. Jawapan dia memang ada dalam notes pun. Tapi yang dalam notes tu dia punya konsep dia lain sikit masa part Q note tu. Q note tu dia tak pecah jadi equivalent order forces, dia buat terus dalam diagram. Boleh buat guna kaedah tu tapi ramai yang confused dekat dia punya sign. So might as well you follow this step, insyaAllah kalau you follow step by step like this, you tak akan silap dia punya direction. Okay, so you tengok video tu, you please continue this until the end. Lepas tu saya akan bagi another question untuk you buat balik from A to Z sampai you dapat unknown displacement as well as unknown reaction. Okay, untuk cover 1 jam kelas. So saya akan masuk kelas 2 jam macam ni online, dan 1 jam lagi tu you tengok video and you buat exercise and then you submit. Okay. So tak sempat nak minta on camera pun. Saya ada meeting pukul 4 insyaAllah. Ke sempat sekejap. Boleh tak 2-3 minit on camera kita ambil gambar kejap?
Boleh, madam.
Before we end session today. Lagi. Sorry juga tak sempat nak berkenalan seorang-seorang. Yang mana yang belum hantar video tu, sila hantar. Sebab video tu the only way saya nak kenal my students. That is why saya minta everyone submit video. Okay, ada lagi?
Madam.
Okay, saya tengok saya tukar jadi large gallery. Okay, this is my routine lah. Normally, student under my class, saya akan minta you all untuk switch on camera before we end session. Okay, kita take picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Sekejap. Nanti saya akan share lah. Sekejap, one more. And one more. Together mode. Okay. Sekejap. Yang ni lah. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you just wait for my instruction in the empty channel. In empty channel, tengok. I want you to watch video and finish this and watch video, and then you need to answer another question. Okay, and submit into the Microsoft OneNote under class notebook. Okay, class notebook, we will meet again for 2 hours next Monday, insyaAllah. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. So, we end our session today with Tasbih Kifarah and Surah Wal-As.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
madam.
madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.